How long did it take you to get over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube?
In terms of me doing full time, a little less than 2 years. A little less than 2 years.
Wow.
I'm not perfect, and I don't have all the answers. I don't know anyone who is. In fact, there's always someone who knows more than you about a specific topic. This is a space where conversations and discussions can be had that will help build an understanding of folks from all walks of life. Finally, I hope you, the listener, becomes more knowledgeable about a topic or subject than you did before. Whether it be business, social and political issues, or any other topics that may come up. This is More to Know. And I'm Chris Moore.
Jeremy, welcome to the podcast, man. It's good to see you.
Likewise, it's been a while.
Been too long. Before we really get into it, Jeremy, tell everyone else, I know who you are, but tell everyone else, who are you? What do you do? Tell us about you.
All right. Well, my name is Jeremy Carden, a native from Clover, Virginia. Grew up there my entire life. Now I live in Lynchburg. I came to Lynchburg in 2009 for my first, 2010 for my first official on-campus semester at Liberty, and went to college from 2010, 2014, graduated. I worked at Liberty for about 3 years, and now I'm a full-time YouTuber. Just turned 29 about a month ago, about to get ready for the big 3-0 next year. And just excited to see where this new decade is going to take me in life. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm about. Just full-time YouTuber utilizing that communications degree.
Nice. So you said utilizing your communications degree. Tell everyone and remind me, how many degrees do you have?
All right, let's see here. Starting from the bottom to the top. A minor in biblical studies, an associates of arts and religion, a bachelor's in communication specifying in public relation and advertising. I have all 5 graduate certificates available for the School of Religion at the master's level.
Wow.
Global studies, theological studies, Christian ministry, Christian leadership, and biblical studies. And then 2 masters from the School of Divinity, a master's in theological studies, and a Master of Arts in Religion Leadership. So 2 masters, 5 graduate certificates, a bachelor's, and associates, and a minor.
Oh, okay. That's it?
Yeah. I mean, unless you want to count the community college and high school awards and degrees, but just focus on
the Wow. Little slight flex. That's okay. That's you. I asked.
Well, hey, slight flex, big debt. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Debt. That's another episode we'll do.
That actually is not a bad idea. I have a lot of thoughts on college in general, but yeah, for real, let's pin that one for now. We'll definitely do that again in the future.
For sure. All right. Well, you said full-time YouTuber. I guess we can jump right into it. Tell us what your YouTube channel is about.
Well, let's see. It's called The Haves and the Have-Nots Review, hence the banner on the wall behind me. If you are a Tyler Perry fan, all his various shows that he does on the OWN network, but now BET, because he switched over to Viacom. Long story short, the channel itself was birthed from a WordPress blog I have, J-Tunes Music. I pretty much use the channel to review the shows, but the thing about it is I don't just review his shows themselves. I watch the episodes. Anybody can do a recap. There are plenty of channels out there that watch television shows and movies and recap. But what I did was, because the Haves and the Have-Nots was so drastically different from Meet the Browns or House of Pain, it was a legit soap opera, a daytime soap, but at night. It had compelling characters, great story arcs, and it was really about figuring out where Tyler was going to take the next twist. Who's going to kill who's having an affair. And from that, I was able to create such a strong following because I would do the episode reviews, trailer breakdowns, and these elaborate theories, which, to be honest, about 90% of the time, I'm correct. And that pretty much helped me out with building an audience, because people could look at the YouTube channel now and just say, hey, how can I get into YouTube? How can I make it a living? But they don't understand that I started from nothing with this. This was something that was not in the cards. I mean, you and I did our YouTube videos back in college, but it was never something that I thought would be, I guess you could say, monetizable, or something that I would see myself doing for a living. I built it up from, if I'm not mistaken, we were on the same dorm on East at the time, that's where I was That's right. I was blogging at the time. I
Right.
had the Facebook page. So I pretty much built up these various Facebook pages, Instagrams, Twitter, all these different social media accounts, was blogging about the show. And then Tom Tran, he was like, hey man, take your voice, get a microphone, because your blogs and ideas are great, but more people are into listening or watching videos as opposed to reading. So
And what year is this? So the audience knows. What year is this?
that was 2013. When did I start YouTube? Because it was about 2014 when I did the first few videos. And when I tell you the numbers were low, because at the time the channel was called my initials, JCC, Theories to See. And for the longest time, I was getting I was excited getting 100 views, just 100 views on an idea. Where my blogs, I was doing that for about 2 years, never saw a penny from that. Again, people like the YouTube game. It was something I was doing for fun, the blogging and everything. YouTube, same thing. I was doing the videos. I was just switching platforms, trying to get a bigger audience. Right. So when I changed the channel to Tyler Perry's The Haves and Have Nots Review, that's when the subscribers jumped from like 400 to over 1,000 in like a couple of days.
Wow.
And then as the weeks went on, this was about June 2017 when my roommate was like, you got a decent amount of watch time. Why don't you sign up to be monetized? I'm like, monetized? Again, I didn't know what it meant to make money on YouTube. We would do our fun videos about convo and living on campus and those freestyle videos and whatnot. Right. But to actually get paid for this, I remember that first monetized direct deposit I got from Google. It was about $500 or $600, and it blew my mind. Wow. I was like, I can get paid for this. So within 3 months, I quit the call center job. I'm like, okay, I spend 40 hours a week on the phones with students, making Liberty a crap ton of money, financial check-ins and registrations. And then I come home to my closet, walk-in closet. And this was before I had my setup where I'm at my desk. I was on the floor, Indian style, recording. And I figured, well, I only need X amount of dollars a month to pay bills.
Right.
I got some savings. If this doesn't work out, I'll just find another job. So I left Liberty after 3 years and 2 months. And next month on the 17th of October marks 3 years since I've been doing this full time. So yeah, the channel is pretty cool. It really is.
Yeah, I remember when we were in school, I think we would always say, like, Jeremy, you have a voice. We were thinking radio. YouTube was big, but it wasn't like Jeremy, try out to be on some radio stations, and he was just like, no, you knew your path, you knew the path you wanted to take.
Yeah, that's the thing. I never knew I remember there was an opportunity, I want to say maybe my second year or so of college at the Light, 90.9, because I used to do voiceover work there because one of the guys hit me up sometime last year. He sent me the MP4 files of like the intros I would do for their show. I remember doing Devotion, like I think it was like Thursday night for a while. And this was during the songwriting days. Remember, I was just writing songs at my binders and everything. Because, I mean, that's the thing people always ask, like, what is it to be YouTube? I'm like, man, it was not in the cards. Like, I remember I wanted to be a songwriter and everything. Like, I still did work in my classes, of course, because, it was important to get that degree. But I remember having an opportunity to do a show. But I declined because at the time I was in so many clubs and organizations in college because being a comms major, and I mean, this goes for almost any other major as well. There are like a ton of organizations like PRSSA, and there was the AAF or whatever. There was the public relations, and then the American Advertising Foundation, one of those two. Well, I was in both of them technically because I got those certificates from them, but I was just in so many other out-of-class clubs and organizations. I didn't have time. But, of course, if I could go back, maybe I would change it. But, yeah, I'm with you. Definitely thought the radio was going to be the route as opposed to YouTube. But who's to tell that YouTube wouldn't eventually lead to a radio or, kind of interview, televised career. Who knows?
What moment did you decide I can do this full time? I'm going to go for YouTube full time.
I felt like I was getting hyped up and more support from my coworkers than myself,
Wow.
because to be honest, after that first deposit of like $500-600, I'm like, you know what, man? Or at the time, I'm like, well, let's see. My half of the rent, Wi-Fi, car payment, phone, I need about $800-ish a month to at least pay for the major necessities, if you will. And I remember just holding on to the job for a little. To be honest, if I would have held out for about a month and a half, I would have got that bonus check, but whatever. I just know that coworkers are like, dude, you got over 1,000 subscribers. You got so many views on your videos. Like, because this was at a point where I had broken so many records as a Liberty call agent within my first few months. So 3 years, I'm just like doing it in my sleep, like killing the registration numbers, financial check-in, and like, not to go on a Liberty tangent here because I got a whole playlist on my channel if you want to check it out at some point, viewers. So at that time, I'd figured, again, if I fell on my face, then I can at least say that I tried. And I remember I was invited to a coworker's house. It was like a few coworkers. It was like a get-together one night. We were just listening to music, eating food, just kind of, just hanging out outside of work. And I remember going outside with one of them. We talked for about a good 10 minutes. He was like, come on, man, dude, you are not getting anything out of Liberty, because you've been there 3 years. You've been in the cubicle. You've been killing these numbers. But just looking at what you're doing outside of Liberty, I think you can make it. And then more people were telling me the same thing. It's like, bro, go out on your own. So unlike Bobby Brown, who got kicked out of New Edition and blew up, I pretty much had the vote of confidence. And I think for me, I feel like a part of me wanted my parents' approval, but another part of me was just like, I don't really need it, because I remember about 3 weeks before I quit, one of the coworkers, she was like, wait, why are you waiting on so-and-so to give you approval? If you want to leave, just leave. And I told my mom, I was like, look, here's my plan. I'm going to quit. I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking dad for money. I'm just saying, this is my plan. I think it could work. And if it doesn't, I will just find another job and that'll be it. So I wrote a 13-page resignation letter. 13 pages. Did I ever show you that?
No,
I got to send you that.
Oh,
long story short, I remember the last couple of monthly check-ins with my boss at the time. And again, I was killing it so much that it really wasn't it. It was just like, no shade to like their position. It's like they have to mentor us at some point, but you can tell when they have to just nitpick to find something just to kind of coach us on. And then I would just kind of casually ask, like, hey, in the off chance I wanted to leave, like, what would I need to do? Like, all you need to do is write like a little letter saying what day you're leaving. And that's pretty much it. We would turn it in and go from there. I'm like, okay. And I don't know what prompted me. I think it was after that one talk with the coworker. I just decided, okay, let me just write up this letter. And you know me, when I do something, I want to stand out. That little one paragraph, I'm like, you know what? If I'm leaving, I want to just put it all out there. 20 reasons why I was leaving. Imagine a BuzzFeed article, 20 detailed reasons, some paragraphs, some pages. And I had my own original memes in there too. And I typed it up, I printed it out, and I even put it in like a binded, folder. It was legit. And I figured it was Sunday night too. I'm like, let me go in here. I put it in my desk. It'll just be in my desk for what, if something pops off, or I'm like, I'm done. Going the next day, nothing really happened. I think they put in 3 new rules in the huddle meetings we would have before work to let us know different changes. And the worst part is, I was just looking for any reason to leave. I was just looking for one thing to set me off so I could handle it. And I don't know why I was in that mood, but you know what it is. You're waiting for that last straw to break the camel's back. I remember something happened to my coworker. She was like, one of the rules affected her personally. And I'm like, I think that's a sign. So at the end of my shift, actually at the end of my boss's shift, because she wasn't at her desk at all that day, a lot of meetings. So before she clocked out, I walked up to her and handed her the letter. She almost cries, like, I can't believe are you leaving me? I'm like, wait. Is this what a breakup feels like? I will say this last
Go for it.
The boss, like the head boss at LUO, Somehow the letter got to his hands. Let me break it down. Look, I know I said I was going to stop, but I didn't know like this would be so relevant to the
No,
story.
keep going. Yeah.
I gave the letter to my boss. She's like, "Oh, okay," because she thought it was just the one page. But as she flipped through, it was like, "Oh my God, okay, look, I'm about to go. So I will leave this on my desk. I will look at this tomorrow. I'll hand it over to workforce, and we'll go from there." Like, oh, it's all good. Okay.
Right.
So the next day, I get to work. I'm on the phone. Mind you, I kept this on the low.
Right.
Nobody knew about this except for the girl who was the coworker who was affected by the rule. I was like, I told her because we were close.
Right.
And I don't know. And you know how sometimes you think you heard something, but you just don't know? I was on the phone with someone. I remember my boss getting up from her desk and walking by somewhere. I could have sworn she said, "Oh, look what you did." I feel like she said it, but I can't prove it because I was listening to the person talk. But she walked like right behind my chair, and I heard something. Later that day, during lunch, the big guy who was like the new head of LUO came downstairs, and he was on our road talking. I'm thinking to myself, oh, wow, the gods from Mount Olympus came down with the comment folks. They don't ever come down here. So I had just gotten I went to the cafeteria to get some food. I got back, and, you know, he was chopping it up with everybody. He's like, "Oh, what can we do? Oh, you need your desk raised? Okay." And I'm just like, they don't usually come around here. So he talks to me. He's like, "Hey, Jeremy, you're Jeremy, right?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Hey, would you mind coming with me for a minute?" I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just on my lunch break. I'm chilling. So I go in the back office. It's him and another guy who was like one of the heads on the floor. We talked for like 20, 30 minutes. He's like, "So I got your letter." I'm like, "Wait, what?" "Yeah, so your boss handed it over to workforce." And I went into workforce talking about something, and the guy was reading it. He's like, "Hey, you need to look at this." And I was like, "Huh?" And he looked at it, and again, a 13-page freaking resignation letter. He's like, I read over, and it's like, this is one of our best guys, and if he's leaving, something's definitely wrong. So he sat down with me to kind of gauge, like, look, I'm sorry because we came in here making all these changes without looking at different people. We just changed everything as a whole. Instead, they wanted to change everything as opposed to looking at what was working. Long story short, they had a huge meeting with all the bosses, all the supervisors and everything to go over my letter. If I could have been a fly on the wall during that meeting, I swear, I wish I could have been. But in any case, the letter was so big. I remember explaining the situation.
You went viral.
Pretty much before my videos did. You know what I mean? We talked and he understood why I was leaving. But the thing was, he actually spoke to me 2 more times. But the thing is, I remember walking out of the office, like, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry I interrupted your break. Hey, take another 40 minutes of lunch." I'm like, what up? I remember coming out of the office, when I tell you everyone on my aisle was looking at me like,
you get the look.
This was at a time where people were getting fired or promoted like that. Wow. I kid you not. People were like leaving almost every day. I wanted to leave on my own terms. Here's the thing that they could have said that they didn't, that would have got me there longer. I never once heard pay increase. You want to know the worst part? When I hit my 3-year, the pay bump I got was everybody got the same pay bump, even those who had been there 1 year. And I'm like,
wow.
Like Tyler Perry, I could do bad all by myself. I'd rather go out there and struggle to make ends meet, but I'm making it on my own terms and staying here, making you all a crap ton of money, and I'm not being paid when I'm worth. So I just left. That was pretty much it.
Know your worth.
Yeah.
Wow. That's Jeremy, that's a huge life lesson I think a lot of people never learn.
Yeah,
because you go ahead.
I could have been content. To be honest, I never asked for promotions. I never applied for promotions. I was just there doing my job. Yeah, I just did my job, and that was pretty much it.
And that's it. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. Firm believer in that. Since we talked about your channel so much, I'm curious too, if you don't mind me asking, how many subscribers do you have?
Let's see here. Let me pull up the exact number. Currently, I am sitting on 142,752 subscribers.
Congrats. And if I'm not mistaken, does that come with a plaque?
Yes. Once you hit 100,000, you get the silver play button award. I actually got it still in the box. I haven't hung it up yet. It's almost been a year since I got it, but I haven't really done anything with it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right here. It says the haves and the have-nots review for passing 100,000 subscribers. I
Wow.
honestly love the original format of the award because it was like already framed and it
Hmm.
had the play button kind of like engraved on it.
Right.
But I mean, this is cool too, but I like the original. I just didn't get 100,000 in time, but whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, how long did it take you to get over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube?
In terms of me doing full time, a little less than 2 years. A little less than 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you really put the work in.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of videos, a lot of talking, and a lot of editing, but it all worked out pretty good. And of course, I couldn't have done it without the dedicated fan base because the thing about it is, remember that fan base I created before YouTube on
Right.
Twitter and whatnot?
Right.
I remember the early days where I was 40 hours a week in the call center, but when I first, that's the one thing about self-employment, you are always busy. I
Mm.
was spending more than 40 hours on the editing, the recording, but I feel like I spent even more time during the self-promotion,
Wow.
retweeting, posting on Instagram, the Facebook pages. But it got to a point where I realized my audience was really doing more of the work for me because I think it was around the end of 2018. I sat down, I'm like, okay, I need to come up with a game plan for 2019. So
Hmm.
I'm not wasting time. Like, okay, how many Facebook groups do I have? Because I was also in a bunch of like, I want to say about 10 Facebook groups for YouTubers. And
Wow.
I was promoting in there too. Like every time I hit a milestone, I was like, hey, here's this. And we would like, collaborate somewhat, not on videos, but ideas. And
Right.
I'm like, okay, what's the point of me being in these groups? So I cut down. I pretty much left every single Facebook group I was in except for the ones I created. So
Wow.
I took that angle and my fans didn't let me down. And also learned, about using compelling hashtags and tags in my videos. So
Mm.
all those little things like spending a few days studying on effective technique saved me hours of work in the long run when what's it called? Like work smarter, not harder. That was pretty much
Hmm.
how I was doing it. So it really did
Wow.
work out in the end that way.
That's awesome. So, and I think a lot of people think, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of people think that it just takes one viral moment and then your channel's good. But for you, and that's not normally the case for anybody. I think people should realize that. And for you, it took an organic, reaching out. You had a net. Did you have a network when you released a video who you promoted to?
No, I didn't. I mean, pretty much like I said, anytime I posted on Twitter, I would tag, okay, the own network, this cast member, that cast member. I would hashtag everything. And really my own network of promotion was my own. Again, like the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook group, Facebook page. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I just want to make it quick clear too. You don't have a partnership with OWN or Tyler Perry, right? Right yet, at least.
Yeah, I'm not signed to anyone. The only collaboration or contact with the own network, because I think one of the questions you had was like, what are some of the setbacks that I had on the road to success?
Yeah.
I remember when I got monetized, like there's a huge difference between unmonetized and monetized. When you're unmonetized, and YouTube has changed so much since we did it. Like, remember back when we could use like background music and everything and songs and
Oh
nobody
yeah,
would bat an
yeah.
eye. Now it's like if you got 1 second of a certain song, boom, copyright claim.
Wow.
I remember like my original videos, I wouldn't even use video clips. I was only using screenshots and photos of the episodes.
Wow.
And after I got monetized, like almost all my videos got flagged by OWN. And I'm like, okay, I need to ship this. So I reached out to OWN. Thankfully, somebody contacted me and I explained what my channel was and what it
Hmm.
was. And I'm like, there are channels that post full episodes and none of them are
Right.
flagged or taken down, but my content's getting hit. What's going on? So he put me on this list because of an automated system, and that's how my videos are saved. So no, I'm not signed to BET, OWN, Tyler Perry, or anything like that. I'm just a fan with a YouTube channel.
In a way, a partnership so you don't get flagged.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like
pretty
that.
much. Yeah, pretty much like an understanding that, oh, this guy isn't stealing our stuff. He's actually just discussing it and using it in the YouTube fair use policy way.
That's amazing. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Because you do interviews also.
I mean, with the cast members, it's pretty great because ironically enough, in a way, it's kind of like I've been doing interviews over the years without even realizing it because a lot of them, we just talk all the time, whether it be Twitter or Instagram, just talking about things of that nature. But I will say that it really I didn't realize how big I was getting until one of the cast actually reached out to me to ask me their opinion. I think it was one of the newer cast members who knew about my content. And I think it was towards the end of one season finale. And they hit me up, was like, hey, man, I mean, I'll be so honored if you could let me know what did you think of my performance? I'm like, whoa. Yeah, that's when I was starting to slowly realize that, okay, this could actually happen.
Would you say that Tyler Perry is a big personal inspiration for you?
I mean, without his shows, I would not be here doing what I'm doing right now. That's a big thing right there. Because I remember one of my driving forces was to get his attention. The only interaction, if you will, was him retweeting me one time last year on one of his shows. I think it was the Oval and Sisters on BET. I'll never forget it because I actually screenshot the tweet. I need to frame it. Basically, I think my tweet was like, the thing I love about Tyler Perry content is seeing familiar faces because he works with the same people certain times. I forgot the exact wording, but it was somewhere along the lines of, oh, I love watching Tyler Perry content because sometimes I love seeing those familiar faces, and he retweeted me. And that was it. I remember really wanting to get his attention, but then once I realized my audience was getting bigger and I was talking with so many various cast members, I'm like, I don't need it because I love his work ethic, for one. His views on ownership, and the fact that he gives opportunities to those who honestly don't have that same opportunity given to them by Hollywood. Not to mention the giving he does, whether it be money
huge
or
philanthropist. Huge philanthropist.
Yes, it's amazing. So I'd say that he's definitely inspiration. It's like how people felt when Barack Obama made to the White House, like, okay, if he could do it, then I can do it. Or in this case, Tyler Perry, who came from nothing, owning one of, if not the biggest studio in the country. If he can do it, so can I. So I definitely think that the work ethic is probably the work ethic and success, but also not forgetting where he came from. Yeah, those are the biggest things.
That combined, it's huge.
And being a Christian too. Yeah.
Right. That's a huge aspect. I hope you can meet him soon. I really do. And work with him. Meet and work with him officially. That'd be amazing.
Great. I think sometimes it's like if I post a video, I'm like, ooh, this is probably going to get me on the do not allow in Tyler Perry studio list, because that's the one thing about the channel itself. When people ask me, do you work for Tyler Perry? I'm like, no, I'm just a fan, because sometimes I'm honest in my reviews, because the one thing I never wanted my channel to turn into is a rant channel, because rants get views, but I feel like rants are more of a turn. It's something people need to realize in the day and age we live in. While we do have access to our celebrities via social media, you could easily turn them off as easily as you send out one tweet. Because I remember this story in one of the PR SSA meetings. They were talking about how the importance of, honestly, a job interview starts before you even walk into the building. Like if you're in a coffee shop and you're rude to a person behind you, or you get on the elevator at a company and you don't hold the door for somebody, but then you get into the interview office and then that same guy you didn't hold the door open for, or the guy you were rude to in the coffee shop, or they saw you be rude, they're the ones behind the table, for the interview. So I feel the same thing about Tyler Perry, but the thing is, I give my honest opinion. I don't sit up here and rant. I pretty much talk about things that are great as well as things that are not so great. But the thing is, also throw in a little, I think it could have been better if it was done this way, as opposed to this show stinks, I'm done. So sometimes I think about how that possibly impacts me meeting Tyler Perry, but also the fact that I don't want to be fake. Like, there have been shows I have legitimately not watched because it turned into every review I did being negative, and I just stopped. So I would love to sit down with the man to pick his brain at some point in the future. I have had people tell me that they said they told Tyler about me, but I have yet to hear any communication. So it is what it is.
You never know where this will go. This might be the I mean, along with your hard work, but he might see this. You never know. That's how I feel. And I agree with you. Whenever you put something out, you never know who's going to see it.
Exactly. That's right. I mean, trust and believe, like, I was blown away when some of the cast told me they found my content. I'm like, I remember this one time I was like starstruck, not in the, like, oh my God, it's you. It was more of a, holy crap, I said this in the video. They're like, yeah, so I saw what you said about me in the review. And I'm like, go on. And I'm just like, can you be more specific? Because I got so many videos on the channel, but they're like, oh, no, I'm just messing with you, but I appreciate the shout out and everything. So, yeah, because sometimes a character could be my favorite, but then they're taking it some drastic route where I'm like, nah, I ain't feeling this.
Right.
I can
And you
tell
and
when
you
they're
and you
about to
keep.
be killed off.
How can you tell when someone's going to be killed off? Well, what's the sign?
Their character acts irrationally out of character. Usually a calm, cool, collected character starts turning into a monster, or they make stupid mistakes and they die. And they usually get like a big role in a movie or other show, and I can tell, yep, they're probably going to die soon.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Even though
Wow.
technically Tyler's filming is so quick now that it's hard to tell. It's like Tinka Sumter has been in so many projects, but she's still one of the main characters, just as an example. So that's usually how it goes.
I guess my next point I want to talk to you about a little briefly, because I know we could talk all day about this.
Yeah.
But music. Tell us a little bit about your taste in music. I can say from firsthand experience, you have very good taste in music. So what's your favorite genre of music, and what kind of music would you listen to all day long if you could?
Well, to be honest, not to sound like an old head, but anything that's not up to date. Like I can't even really think of any current songs that I would have on repeat. I'm more of an R&B guy. The old school records, our parents would just put on when they're cleaning on Saturday or whatever. Whether it be heck, I was listening to Temptations earlier this morning. Some Prince, some Michael Jackson, Whitney, Mariah Carey, pretty much anything I grew up with. The early 2000s, maybe late, about 2010, probably some of the songs we were listening to in college. Yeah, pretty much old school 90s, early 2000s music are probably my favorites. I mean, the 80s, man, they're just nonstop classics in there.
I've listened to your playlist. They're pretty amazing. On that same entertainment note, you're also a movie guy.
I love the classics, like the black and white films. I love documentaries. I feel like I watch more documentaries than movies. And when it comes to television shows, outside of outside of the shows I review, not too much I keep up with. I'm more of a play it by ear. I'll rewatch the same thing over and over. I might check out a Netflix series every now and then, because I feel like that's the thing. It's hard to even define what a television show is, because more often than not, it's like, oh, it's a Disney Plus series. Oh, it's a Netflix series. It's a Hulu series. You rarely hear television series anymore.
Would you ever consider reviewing another series, movie, or show?
I get that all the time. Originally, I was only doing the haves and the have-nots. That was all I was doing. Even though If Loving You Is Wrong, which was another Tyler Perry show, and Greenleaf was the show Oprah had, which was like the church-focused one. That I regret not reviewing when I had the chance. I did review the last 2 seasons, but if I would have started when people were telling me to, my numbers, oh my goodness. But I review close to a dozen shows now, most of which are Tyler Perry, but I know for a fact there are a lot of hit shows I've been requested to do. How to Get Away with Murder, Empire, a lot of these shows have ended. Power. I'm the kind of person where I'm not going to review something unless I can get into it. Like if I watch a few episodes, I'm not feeling it, because I don't want this to feel like work. Yes, it is work when I'm editing and whatnot, but it's not work when I'm talking about it because I want to talk about it. So it's all about supply and demand and giving the people what they want, because trust and believe, if Greenleaf, I remember starting that show, reviewing it, and If Loving You Is Wrong, those 2 shows alone brought in like 500,000 hits plus last year in a matter of weeks. Like those videos were hitting numbers, and I just like started to get into them. So that taught me, when the people are talking about a specific show, I think The Chi is one of the bigger ones people are telling me to review.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I just haven't. Yeah, that's what I heard on that. And what is it, Power Book 2 or something like that? That's currently on?
Yep, another good one.
And allegedly, they are working on a Empire spinoff focusing on Cookie. That was announced a couple months ago, and
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, because the thing is about having a big fan base, so many people hit me up with news and ideas that some of the time it's not even me trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel. Usually it's people handing me ideas that I run with and put my own spin on. A lot of shows that end, they do usually get the alleged spinoff treatment. I mean, you would think the quarantine and everything probably changed the minds of some directors. Like, what was it? Empire actually had about an episode and a half they didn't film due to the pandemic. So when it ended, it was actually cut short. One of the things I appreciate, kind of jumping back to the Tyler Perry thing about working with him or even talking with him one day, being able to communicate with so many people who work on the show, it showed me so much about the show business entertainment industry I didn't even know, especially like the beginning of this year when Tyler had that one little viral video where he had like piles of scripts that he said he did all by himself that
Right.
got a lot of backlash. I knew all that in advance. People told me like, oh, we film stuff like that. We film stuff like a year in advance. And I was learning so many different things. So before his studios officially opened up the new one, there was just so much that I just never knew. So that just taught me again, like when it comes down to doing videos on certain things, I want to make sure I'm coming from a place of facts as well as things I can tell about being sued. So that's also a big thing as well. You know, I don't want to be like a tabloid channel, like my biggest video, which is possibly going to hit 500,000 views by the end of the week, about Malik from House of Pain and his different appearance being actually weight loss as opposed to something people were trolling. I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm like, this video could probably hit 1 million before I know it.
Wow.
I
Wow.
can't believe it's doing as well as it was. And I'm mad because I would have made it like 10 minutes longer. That could have been more ad revenue because they're adding advertisements in videos. They're like 7 to 10 minutes plus long in the middle of them. But it was just me just doing a quick video. I did some research, did an interview where he talked about his weight loss journey and everything. And just with the whole Chadwick Boseman situation, I was like, man, to have people online trolling someone because they look different now than how they did before. It's like, didn't we learn that lesson? So I guess
Right.
it pays. It was just a quick, short reminder to me that kindness goes further than negativity. So if that video is like, well, if that video is like the biggest video I ever did, I'm proud of that. So yeah, it's all about staying in your lane, so to speak, and making sure that when you put out news that it's right instead of incorrect. But then again, this is the internet. People are all about clicks rather than facts. So
So true. So true. I know I said I was going to end this soon, but I had one more thing I wanted to ask you in terms of, so you said ad revenue. That's a separate from, if you don't mind me asking, from what the YouTube um pay would be, or is that all included?
that's pretty much included. I mean, I make the money through ad revenue. Basically, when I post a video and there are ads on it, it's pretty much like TV. I remember as a kid wondering, okay, I'm trying to watch Wheel of Fortune. Why do we have all these commercials on? And I remember a teacher was like, that's how they make the money. It's like they show the program and they get paid to promote Honda, Toyota, Crest toothpaste. So pretty much my videos are like television shows and YouTube puts on the ads like commercials. And basically the more watch time I get. So basically the more views I get, the more money. Like, trust and believe, 1 million subscribers would be amazing. That's when I get gold, the gold play button award. I got to get 1 million subscribers, but I'm more interested in getting the views because the views mean money. The money means bills are paid. So the more views I get, the more ad time I get, the more money comes about. So there are videos that the Malik video alone, the one that's about to knock on the door of 500,000 views. That one has already made me over $3,000, and it hasn't even been a full month yet.
Wow. To someone who's just starting out on YouTube, they want to start getting paid right away. What's the process for that? I know that you don't start getting paid day one. I know things have changed since you even started.
Yes, and it's ever changing. I believe the rule is still the same. You need at least 1,000 subscribers to be monetized. I forgot the exact number of watch hours. I want to say it's like 10,000 or 40. Actually, I can Google it real quick. And while I'm doing that, I could just say that it's easy to pick something that will get views to an extent. Like, you can see what's trending. Like, I don't know why, but for the life of me, reaction videos are still one of the biggest things. I don't understand why. It's like I get it to an extent, but I don't see myself doing it. But yeah, it's 1,000. You have to be under review, so you need to get oh, hang on. Did they change it again? Lord. Oh, well, I couldn't find it because Google's just sending me in circles. But I think it's about 40,000 hours of watch time. So pretty much YouTube Studio has all that information. I would just say my best advice is pick something that you love to do. I know for me, I didn't start YouTube looking for money. I just started it to take the audience I had on WordPress and my social media, bring it to a different platform to get more people. So I would say pick something you like doing and don't be discouraged.
So Jeremy, thank you again for your time. Before you go, I'm going to ask you 3 quick rapid fire questions.
All right.
All right. What's one entertainer, dead or alive, you'd want to have lunch with?
Michael Jackson.
Second question. What's one movie you can watch all the way through and remember and quote most of the lines?
12 Angry Men.
Wow.
That's
What's
one of my
wow,
one
I
of
didn't
my
know that.
favorites. I'm a sucker for the classics.
I thought you were going to say the Temptations or something.
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. Don't worry. I mean, I can quote that all day and night. But at the same time, 12 Angry Men, I love that movie from start to finish.
Since she's on the back wall here and I love this album, what's your favorite Whitney Houston song?
Whew, that's a tough one. I don't want to sound generic, just naming the hits everybody knows, like, shoot, I want to dance with somebody. One of my favorites, and I kid you not, I remember the first time I just stumbled across this song on Spotify. I was just having, the Whitney albums playing.
Right.
I want to say it was on the album she did after the one on the wall behind you. I cannot think of the name of the album. I know it's the one she did with Babyface. It was the one that had like
Yes. Why is it?
Where Do Broken Hearts Go?
Yes.
And I'll Be Your Baby Tonight. It was the song called Miracle. That song to me is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. And I listened to that on repeat about 15 times. I kid you not. It was so good. I just remember having it on repeat.
Wow, the I'm Your Baby Tonight album.
Yeah. Oh, I was right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Miracle. Wow. Okay. Jeremy, you know your stuff. Well, Jeremy, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for dropping the knowledge. Thank you for giving the inspiration. And I definitely cannot wait to have you on future episodes.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot to talk about in future episodes.
For sure. Well, take care, Jeremy. Again, it was great having you.
All right, you too.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of More to Know. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes.